Good evening, everyone. I am thrilled that you're joining us tonight for the Spring4Life event to support 1 in 5's mission to prevent suicide by erasing the stigma of mental illness and promoting optimal mental wellness. This work is my personal mission, which has grown so quickly over the last several years. Mental health is a topic not easily discussed in our society. Depression is a word commonly whispered in hushed voices, and the word suicide is a cause of death often hidden. It can no longer go on like this. I started 1 in 5 in 2010 to change this. It is imperative that we change the conversation and that we begin to see mental health as synonymous with physical health. It's been a hard year, and the pandemic has presented many challenges to the mental health of all of us. I hope you can sit back and learn about some of the work 1 in 5 has done over the past year. We are so appreciative of your openness to be a part of this discussion. Now I'm going to turn it over to Frank Marzullo. Frank is the meteorologist at Fox 19. Frank, thank you for being with us tonight. I'm leaving that.
Nancy, thank you, and I'm so honored to be here. Actually, I've been learning a lot about 1 in 5 over the last, several hours here this afternoon and this evening. And we are so honored to have everybody out there, and I would say TV land, but I guess it's digital land now with all of our devices that we're watching on. We have a great evening planned for you here this evening. Tonight, we'll feature a youth speaker. Her name is Carmen Gould, and our keynote speaker tonight, as you're sitting back at home, relaxing, is going to be Kathleen Townsend. Plus, a look back at 2020. We want to look back at 2020 and what 1 in 5 has accomplished. You know, it's been a difficult year for many organizations, but there is a lot to be proud of still here over the last, 12 months plus here as we look back. We have a lot in store for everyone, so grab that beverage here this evening. If you don't have one, we have some bourbon for you, possibly. I don't know if we can get it to you tonight, but hey, all things are possible, right? And maybe a snack of your choice. Go find some hummus in the back of the fridge and get comfy. We're ready to go. Throughout the evening, I'll be highlighting some of the amazing silent auction items, and there really are some amazing ones there, and you're going to want to get in on this early and keep checking back from now through 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. The auction actually opened on April the 18th, and your generosity, you've opened up your hearts and wallets, and we have some wonderful opportunities for you. Again, tomorrow evening, that silent auction is going to close. So you're saying, Frank, how can I get access to the silent auction? Well, all you have to do is do this, and it's on your screen right now, too. Spring4Life 21. You want to text that, and you want to text it to the number 243725. So let me say that one more time. That's Spring4Life 21 to 243725. Do it right now. You're planning. There's some great trips on there. You're planning a trip anyway. Why not plan it and take advantage? And of course, the proceeds going back to 1 in 5. This year, we are excited to have a bourbon raffle. Let me tell you right now, what the folks here at 1 in 5 don't realize is I love bourbon, and I have these beautiful bourbons standing next to me. It is very difficult for me not to find a cold glass and pour a little bit in there. But we are saving these for you. So take a look at them here, folks. The bourbons are Pappy Van Winkle, of course. It's a 12-year. Elijah Craig, single barrel, 18-year. E.H. Taylor small batch. We've got Booker's. We've got Stag. We have Weller. And we have Special Reserve. And, of course, Blanton's. Now, here's the deal with this. There are only a select number of tickets. You have a really good shot. 300 tickets only being sold. Last time I checked, and I know this because I just bought one, so I challenge you to buy one too. There was 193 tickets left. Tickets are $100. Think about the value there and the bourbon that you're going to have to be able to sip in your home. And the great news is, of course, those proceeds going right back to 1 in 5. So only 300 tickets. We have about probably, what do we have here? About probably 192, 191 maybe left. Tickets are going to be drawn in order now. The first name drawn, you get the first choice. I mean, there's no bad choices up here, of course. And then the second name drawn gets the second choice, and so on and so on. That's only going to continue till 8 o'clock. but do it right now. Call your buddies, call your ladies, say, hey, you know what, let's get on this and let's have some good bourbon to sip. Raffle tickets, of course, can be purchased as well on the silent auction website. The Bourbon Raffle, though, as I mentioned, ends at 8 o'clock, and I'll announce the winners here at the end of the show. I'll also get your address and probably stop by for a drink. If bourbon is not your spirit of choice, there are over 100 silent auction items for you to bid. I mean, everything from trips, home and garden opportunities. You got to get your carpets cleaned. There is a silent auction item there for you. And of course, you know, the proceeds going right back to 1 in 5. There's literally something for everyone. So throughout the evening, we will be accepting donations. While it's great to have items, at the end of the day, donations are just more meaningful to come in to provide the great work that 1 in 5 does each and every day here in Greater Cincinnati. We are accepting donations to reach a goal, and we want to do that here right now, a goal of $120,000. It's going to be doable, and we can do it. So what you have to do, make a donation simply, and the information's on your screen. Even if you're watching me in mute, which I hope you're not, everything is right there in your screen, and you'll be able to check things out. So if you donate, you can donate by texting, ready for this, S4L2021. So text S4L2021 to the number 44321. Or we make it even more simple for you. Just go on your device right now, 1in5.org. That's 1in5.org. Remember, all donations, and it is tax season after all, right? 100% tax deductible. We're going to be providing updates on the amount raised throughout the event. And right now, I'm looking, we have this very high-tech dry erase board right here in front of me. $115,150 is where we stand right now towards that goal here that we're looking at donations of $150,000. So let's get there right now. We can do it. Tonight's event would not be possible without our generous sponsors, especially in the times of the last year, right? Folks are realizing there is still good work to be done and work that needs to be done. And these sponsors are coming through for us here this evening, along with the hosts and hostesses. And we thank all of you watching too for the Spring4Life Planning Committee. They're listed on your screen. Take a moment to scroll up and down as you sip your cocktail, and just remember these businesses and these supporters as you go on your life throughout each day here in Greater Cincinnati, and try to support them as well, because they are supporting the cause for 1 in 5. We're going to do our best, by the way, to respond to any questions you may have, questions on silent auction items, whatever you have. Maybe you're new to 1 in 5 and you want some information. We are there for you, and any question that can't get answered right away, they'll throw it up on a Post-it note for me, and we'll make sure to answer it. You can go right there in the chat box on the site as well. If we are unable, I have not drank the bourbon, I promise. If we are unable to respond tonight, a 1 in 5 staff person will get in touch with you tomorrow right away regarding your question. Before we hear from our first speaker tonight, let's hear from some local students from right here in Greater Cincinnati who have firsthand experience on how 1 in 5 has helped them.
Over the past year, my mental health was impacted by mainly a rise in my anxiety, being anxious in ways I never thought possible. For instance, I have always faced social anxieties, but I never used to worry about becoming sick or potentially infecting someone else, even if it was a bad flu season. Plus, I have had very few friends to begin with, and the lack of social interactions has certainly been difficult. And it got to a point where I struggled to balance my loneliness with my anxieties. 1 in 5 in the Youth Council for Suicide Prevention has helped deliver a message that it's okay to not be okay, and to value the importance of taking care of my mental health along with my health as a whole. Plus, to be honest with how I feel, because this past year has been hard on all of us.
Hi, I'm Allie Owen. 2020 really impacted my mental health by just making me lean on the coping skills that I've gained throughout the years, and also adding new ones to my toolkit. And 1 in 5 really helped me by giving me a group of people to share those with, and just a purpose, and my Instagram account that I have with them, Allie's Articulations, just helps me have a creative outlet to express myself and hopefully help other people with the same struggles that I'm dealing with. Thanks.
Hello, I am Dia, and I'm a part of the YCSP and also an intern at 1 in 5. So some ways that 2020 affected my mental health and my friends' mental health are definitely negatively. 2020 really stripped us away of the one thing that we thought we had control over. We thought that we had control over seeing our friends, seeing our family, and that part of our lives, and having that loss of control has been really hard to deal with in 2020. It's just left us sort of taken aback from everything that's going on in the world. But my association, which is very strong with 1 in 5 and the council, has truly helped me, because 1 in 5 tells me to focus on the things that I need to grow in, but also appreciate the things that I've become very strong in. Especially an activity that I love during the YCSP is saying an area in which you are very strong, but also one that you want to grow in, and sharing it within a group. Just seeing that support helps me so much.
Hello, I'm Carson Gould, and I'm a member of the Youth Council for Suicide Prevention. The coronavirus has impacted me and my friends by making us feel more isolated and alone. I was in 8th grade when the coronavirus started, and this means that we couldn't have a graduation, our ceremonies, nor our 8th grade walkout, usually that our school did at the end of the year. So this means that we were more bored, and it didn't feel like an 8th grade year due to this. Also, the summer was very boring as well, and we felt alone because we could not hang out at the pool nor at Kings Island with one another. Also, making friends freshman year was also pretty difficult due to the fact that we had to sit on 6 feet apart and we had to wear masks the whole entire time, which are some pretty hard rules. 1 in 5 helped me with my mental health by making me feel like I was part of a community. It made me feel better connected with others. It also warms my heart to help other people who are in need. This is why and how 1 in 5 has helped me with my mental health.
I mean, that's something right there. We want to thank Aiden, Allie, Carson, Dia, all for sharing your stories. And you can see how 1 in 5 has helped each one of those kids or young adults really, because they are speaking out. And it's very inspirational. You know, you think, heck, when I was a kid, there wasn't all the social media and there was no social media. I'm a kid of the 80s, right? Back in the day. And, I was picked on. I was bullied a little bit, kicked around. It wasn't the most athletic out there. But I went home and I had my friends in my neighborhood. I had my parents. I played television news in my basement. It worked out, I guess. But I didn't have the constant. Now you have the constant, online. Somebody can find you. Somebody can send you a picture. Somebody can send a text. That weighs on folks. As adults, maybe we can comprehend it a little bit more now. But just think about when you were a kid. We had different problems maybe in the 80s and early 90s. But now this bullying, this sort of anxiety, it's 24/7. The house may be not always the safe zone anymore. Of course, your parents love you and everything, but the house might not be that safe zone. So being able to talk, being able to realize that you're not alone, it's huge. So here's the deal. Right on the site is the information to donate. Maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm good on silent auction items. Hey, we want you to keep doing it. But maybe you just want to give. And when you listen to those testimonials right there, that is why you need to give. And that's why we would love for you to give here. $115,000 is where we stand as we await our goal here, getting up towards that $150,000 amount. So if you were kind of not on the edge, but on the fence thinking, okay, what do I want to do right now? It's simple. Just start texting right there, and it's on the site for you here this evening. So let's keep those donations coming. We've got over 60 minutes left here this evening. So we want to hear now from Carmen Gurman. She's a local student from right here in Greater Cincinnati. She's going to elaborate a little bit about what Aiden and Allie and Carson and Dia were saying, how 1 in 5 helped them. She wants to share her story with you right now.
Hello everyone, my name is Carmen. I am a second-year student at the University of Cincinnati, majoring in medical sciences, and I'm really excited to be here with you guys tonight. So, why mental health education and programming is important to me, there's a lot of reasons. I think, firstly, I need to give more background on myself. I went to Walnut Hills for 4 years and I just graduated 2 years ago. And obviously, we all know the school is very rigorous, but I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to succeed and do well. And I was in a lot of AP and honors classes, and I began to see that my mental health was taking a decline. And I noticed that my peers were also experiencing similar issues. It was almost as if anxiety and depression were very normalized. Like we all bragged about how stressed we were, how little sleep we were getting. And I began to realize that even though I had taken like AP psychology and health class, like I knew about different mental health disorders, I knew about the science behind them. I could list Freud's different mental health theories. I didn't know how to help myself. I didn't know how to take care of myself or how to give advice to my peers. So I think, yeah, senior year of my high school, I decided to volunteer and work with 1 in 5. And through 1 in 5 is where I began learning, like getting more educated on what like different mental health illnesses. And I learned how common it is. And there's like a share your story segment on 1 in 5's website and account. And I began to realize like this is a very common issue. And I began to finally started getting help for myself. And through that is why I realized like if there wasn't programming through agencies like 1 in 5, I would have never realized how bad my like mental health was getting, and I never would have sought out help for it. So our Walnut Hills really tried to help us. Like they got a school psychologist, and I know there's many other like nonprofits trying to help the youth, but I think the main difference is that they're not involving the youth in this problem. If we want to help the youth, we should listen to the youth and see what they need. And I saw 1 in 5 doing that, because the very first thing that I did when I joined 1 in 5 was do their youth innovative challenge. And basically there we were invited into this area and we were told to just come up with some crazy ideas that would help the youth. And like I remember we had like a mental health rock concert was one of our ideas. And just like through this like crazy brainstorming, we were able to come to like different solutions. Like my group solution was to create like these virtual reality videos that I feel like an adult wouldn't have come up with. And the fact that we were able to come up with this idea, we knew that our peers would enjoy this, because like virtual reality is like huge in gaming. And so I think that's where I noticed that like 1 in 5 is really involving the youth voice, and that if like even on the website, it says 20% of youth ages 13 to 18 are suffering with a mental health illness. That's huge. And like the topic for 1 in 5 for March is resiliency. And I think the most important thing is to create resilient youth and to help identify the problem earlier on so it doesn't become bigger or undiagnosed later on in life. And so if we involve the youth in this, then we have a higher percentage or higher probability of finding the solution that the youth would actually prefer. I'm also a brand ambassador, and through that, we've gone some trainings for like suicide prevention, and that's been very helpful. I created a Asian American mental health retreat last semester, so it was focused specifically on Asian American mental health. Currently, I am working on a minority mental health video and a minority mental health course that like counselors, therapists could take to get more educated about the unique struggles that minorities face in terms of mental health. So over the course of the past 3 years, I've brought many crazy project ideas to Nancy, and she has said yes to all of them. And I think that's why I keep coming back with even more. I've always been encouraged to pursue these ideas, because I think they realize at 1 in 5 that these ideas are what is going to create a feasible solution for this mental health issues. And I know a lot of youth have also created ideas to bring in TikTok and Instagram and different platforms that the youth are actually using. So when I'm on Instagram and I'll be scrolling, I'll see a 1 in 5 post, and even now on TikTok. And I think like, again, that's another reason why the youth voice is so important, because otherwise 1 in 5 wouldn't be on a platform like TikTok if it wasn't for the youth. So to help the downward trend that is currently occurring among the youth, and that's probably exemplified by the pandemic, I would say that we just need to continue all the projects that we have been working on, continue involving the youth in these projects. I know that there is, like, even the podcast that's happening right now is great because, like, the youth are busy, like my only free time sometimes is on, like, the way to work or on the way to school. It's like in the car ride. And I think continuing to, like, even after like COVID kind of ends, to keep stuff virtual and in person, because it's just more accessible for teens often to do something on Zoom. So personally, I think the pandemic has increased loneliness. I think it's created more anxiety because I can't plan for the future anymore. I have to realize that not everything's in my control. And I think that's kind of common for most of the teens I've talked to. I was talking to a friend who's LGBTQ, and she's talking about how she has to go back into a toxic household because she's out and her parents aren't okay with that. And now because of the pandemic, she's had to return home, and that's really impacted her mental health, and she's regressing back into old habits. And so I think that everyone's situation is unique, but I think overall the trend has been negative, and I think most of us were very unprepared for this. Like, we didn't have coping strategies, and we weren't that, like, resilient. So when we just got thrown into this, it was a major shock. So how 1 in 5 has helped me during these times. I think the most helpful thing that I've seen is probably the Instagram post, because I say that, like, when I'm like scrolling through Instagram, I'm seeing all these models, or I'm seeing like all this like false advertising, and then to come across like a 1 in 5 post that says like, you are beautiful, you are loved. I'm like, yeah, like, it's like a refreshing break. I'd say the podcast has been very helpful. I've actually been on the podcast, and I've listened to many episodes and gotten much more knowledgeable. I'd say the TikTok account is up and running, and it's very fun to look at. I've seen a couple of those. And I say my projects that I've worked on with 1 in 5, like the retreat we did for the Asian American students was completely online, and my mental health video will also be online on YouTube and stuff like that. So how 1 in 5 has helped me in general is that it's given me a purpose. It's made me realize that youth can make an impact, and youth are the most needed voice in this conversation if we're talking about youth mental health. And don't get me wrong, adults are great to have, but I think as supervisors, as mentors, but I think the youth need to be leading the conversation, and that's exactly what 1 in 5 is doing. And I'm going to continue my work as long as Nancy will let me here at 1 in 5. And I think it's encouraged me so much that I think I want to go into psychiatry in the future and continue to work in this field, because I'm just realizing that, like, my 1 in 5 made me realize that my voice is important. And so now I just want to continue working on that. So thank you for listening to me tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for advocating for the youth and listening to the youth voice. I hope that we can continue to get your support, and I hope that you continue to support the youth voice so that 1 in 5 can forward their mission of helping youth mental health.
Our goal, $150,000 to raise here before we're done here tonight. And what Carmen, her story she just told, and how 1 in 5 has affected her and helped her, I think we're going to get that goal. Absolutely. We're at $116,000 right now. You can go right to the site that you're on here, and you can, of course, donate and go to 1in5.org, another location there as well. Carmen hit on a few really essential points. And look at that. Oh, it's just like doing the weather. I have a thermometer next to me there. You can see we're at about 75% of our goal right now. So we're going to get there. And Carmen made a great point. I know we're all kind of maybe sick of the Zooms, and we want to just get back, as we are starting to get back, but get back to maybe full in person. But think about this. Back in the day, my friends, when you had to, you had an appointment to go to. You were suffering. You wanted to talk to somebody. Sure, there may have been the telephone, but a lot of times you had a scheduled appointment. You had to go in person. You had to wait in the office with all those bad old magazines and whatnot. Now, Carmen made a great point. Zoom, interaction, FaceTimes, what have you, technology allows us to reach kids, teens, young adults quick and immediate so that they can express how they're feeling. And that's where 1 in 5 comes in, to allow these avenues and these portals, mind you, or these information areas for kids to talk to us. So let's make those donations go up right now. It's very simple. All you have to do, of course, is remember to text S4L2021 to 44321. That's S4L2021 to 44321. Or, of course, go to onein5.org. Just think about, maybe your childhood, your teenage years, if, you had questions. We've all been there, at certain times. Just think about if you had this resource. You may have overcome things, but if you had this resource, how things would have turned out. So go to onein5.org right now, and let's get that goal. Hopefully when we come back here, we're at 85% of our goal as we're trying to reach 150,000 here tonight. We're just a little over 116,000 right now. So here's the deal. We want to tell you how your donation's used. We were talking earlier. Let's just go through some numbers here. $5,000 sponsors 1 year of programming in one school. And we have schools draped across the tri-state. $2,500 include partial programming sponsors for one school. $1,000, now we're just putting this in perspective here, $1,000 supports a community event for storytelling. $500 covers QPR gatekeeper training for an entire school. Remember when we go in and we talk and we have, mind you, the old school assemblies or whatnot. We need training for this. $250 funds an intern for 25 hours. So that's 25 hours at $250. $50. So right now, let's think, you're going to dinner this weekend. Maybe instead of ordering the appetizers, you take that $50 and you put it right towards supporting educational materials for one school. $50 is going to be able to get materials in the hands of teens in greater Cincinnati who, may have questions or who want to get rid of the stigma, right? Makes you feel good. You just want to feel good, okay? You buy a Starbucks every day? That's great. I do too. But that adds up. $5, 5 days. You do the math. $25 makes you feel good, right? So maybe you go without the caffeine next week, and you take that $25 and you donate. So let's get to our goal of 150,000. And if you're not scrolling on your screen there on your site, let me tell you again. It's texting S4L2021 to the number 44321. Now, we also have the silent auction going on, and there are some fantastic items there as well. The raffle is also benefiting 1 in 5, so bid high and bid often, okay? Thank you, everybody, for your support. I mentioned there's everything from travel to things for the family, for the kids, sporting events. You got tickets to Bengals games, let's see who they're going to draft here next week. You can go right now, and you can bid on the raffle portion till tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. So we want to announce, let's have some fun now, right? Okay, you need to refill that cocktail up. We want to announce our first raffle winner here this evening. And as you know, when you purchase a ticket to tonight's event, you were entered for a chance for your choice, get this, of either a $500 Apple or a $500 Hotels.com gift card. Now, we drew 4 names earlier. This was simply by just buying a ticket. We're giving you something for your support. So let's go over those winners. And I want to stress to you, once we reach out to you, you can then choose whether you want the $500 Hotels.com gift card or the Apple gift card. So our winners, ready? Drum roll. There you go. That was very weak. Heather Mooney, Dave Fuller, Steve Early, and Nora Fanning. Okay, let's say it again here. Heather Mooney, Dave Fuller, Steve Early, Nora Fanning. Congratulations. Thanks for your ticket. We appreciate it. And, of course, you get that choice of a $500 Hotels.com gift card or an Apple gift card. And one of our wonderful staff folks will contact you from 1 in 5 regarding your gift card. And speaking of raffles, do not forget to purchase your raffle ticket for a chance to win a bottle of bourbon. I've got it on my phone right here. Let me see how many tickets we have left here for the Bourbon Raffle. A few moments ago, we were at 188. Yeah, you know what? We have 180 tickets left. So let's just sell those right now. It's $100 a ticket, and you saw all these beautiful bourbons here. You've got Weller, you've got Elijah Craig, you've got Blanton's, you have a little Van Winkle for you here this evening as well. And it's just $100. What time is it right now? Oh, it's 8 o'clock. So we're coming. Are we done? 8 o'clock? I think maybe you can get in real quick. Get in real quick. Time is flying because we're shutting down the bourbon here at 8 o'clock. So we maybe give you an extra minute to get in there and get it. Of course, we've got 181. But if you didn't get in, you've got a good chance if you did get in. We were only selling 300 tickets here for the bourbon. So log in right now and get your ticket, $100, of course. Other items in the silent auction. So here's a few things. Lake Cumberland, right? Weather's warming up. Next week, we're in the 70s and 80s. Maybe a new furnace. How about that? Get ready. Your house is a little drafty this winter. Get ready for next year. A private dinner at Art Design Consultants Art Gallery. That's for 6 people, and you don't have to bring the food. It includes a private chef here this evening. So just go right now to the silent auction, and we mentioned some of the trips that were on there as well. Lake Cumberland would be a great little getaway. I saw, too, they had the carpet cleaning on there. Get kids coming in the house, right? Some great things for your pets as well. So it's all there. There's some car wash opportunities, all there right there at the silent auction. Now, before we hear this evening from our keynote speaker, let's take a moment to look at the work 1 in 5 has accomplished since last year's Spring4Life event.
2020 was definitely a year no one will forget. What started out as a typical year quickly changed for everyone. However, our mission to prevent suicide by reducing the stigma of mental illness and promoting optimal mental wellness remains the same. We know that our work has never been more important. We certainly did not let COVID stop us from reaching more people and finding creative ways to build connections, educate students, teachers, caregivers, coaches, and much more. To achieve our mission, we work in 5 pillar areas: stigma reduction, community engagement, schools and programming, policy and advocacy, and research. Through storytelling, community conversations, and educational events, we work to decrease the stigma associated with mental health. In order to increase conversations and decrease stigma, we launched the 1 in 5 of Us Changing the Mental Health Landscape podcast. We continued our strong social media presence with weekly takeovers, teen contributors, and more. We added more individual journeys to our I Am 1 in 5 series and continued our X Out Stigma collaboration with Xavier University Women's Basketball, plus much more. All of this resulting in a total reach of over 1.4 million people. We activate the community through convening, relationship building, connecting, unifying, and mentoring the next generation. While we were not able to physically be in community with many, we did not let that stop us. With creative problem solving, we humanized the Zoom and created connections to educate individuals. We were able to hold virtual QPR Gatekeeper suicide prevention trainings, increase our student members by 50% on the Youth Council for Suicide Prevention, host a virtual Youth Mental Health Innovation Challenge, collaborate with Whitney Strong, and work with the Anderson Mental Health Collaborative. We hosted Miles for Mental Health in May, our annual Warrior Run, and much, much more, reaching over 3,500 people. We are so pleased to report that we have also increased our schools we are working with from 65 to 82, a 26% increase. Prior to COVID, the need for mental health education and programming was great. COVID has increased that need as isolation has increased as well. Suicide prevention programming is going to be more valuable than ever before as we enter the 2021-2022 school year. We look forward to continuing to partner with schools to create individualized mental health education plans from our well-vetted menu of 16 evidence-based programs, offering our Recharge and Reconnect program, classroom wellness resources, the State of Mind speaker series, mindfulness coaching, brain health network, and much more. For over 10 years, we have partnered with Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center's Adapt for Life program, a 5-day trainer-led in-school program that teaches students the basics of mental health needs, from warning signs to positive coping strategies. Through this partnership, we were able to access CARES funding to bring this program to the elementary school level. Over the past 10 years, we've educated over 49,000 students. At 1 in 5, we understand the importance of system-level change. We know that it is crucial to advocate for policy changes at the state and federal level to support mental health education and protect those with mental illness. Our focus remains to pass legislation that will require K-12 mental health education. Research and data collection continues to be a strong priority. Data tells us where we stand and illuminates the path forward. Last year, we launched year 1 of the $250,000 Jacob G. Schmidt Lab Trust Grant, allowing us to partner with Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center to analyze emergency department visits for mental health needs. We were able to identify the top 25 hotspot schools so that we can begin to work with those schools to create comprehensive mental health education programming. We are excited to share we are now working with 14 of the 25 schools and look forward to developing relationships with more over the next year. We're also happy to report that we completed our youth mental health evaluation with Dr. Stuart Slavin to look at what factors may be adding to mental illness increases in 4 area schools. We're excited to report that we're working with the 4 communities to create programming and interventions for the identified factors. None of our work would be possible without a team of people, a dedicated community, an army of youth, and the vision of a world without suicide and a thriving community. If you or someone you know are struggling, please visit our website and select crisis resources to find the help you need.
What a year it has been, and we are on course to help even more here going into 2021 because we got some great news here, folks. Our goal of $150,000, we're at $140,000 right now. If we were in a fantastic space here in the city, I would have everybody give a round of applause, but we're not there yet. We have to finish that goal. We've got to cross that finish line. So continue to donate here as we are just at about 90% of our goal here in our donations tonight. Of course, 1in5.org or right there, you can scroll on the site. Well, a 26% increase here in schools served, yet with the continuing effects, of course, of COVID, there is still so much work to be done. And as we get to this goal tonight, I know we're going to, of 150,000, we are going to be able to accomplish those goals. Remember to text, of course, S4L2021 to 44321 to make your donation to support education programming right here in our schools. So I want to thank everybody who's made donations so far. But as I mentioned, we've got about 10,000 to go to get us to that 150 goal. Now we want to hear from our keynote speaker here this evening, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend. Of course, Kathleen is the eldest daughter of Robert F. Kennedy and Ethel Skakel. She was the 6th Lieutenant Governor of the state of Maryland from 1995 to 2003. And we are honored to have Kathleen Kennedy Townsend joining us here this evening.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, and I'm so pleased to be here for the 1in5 event. The reason that I'm really excited about being here is because I so admire Nancy. She had a terrible tragedy 10 years ago, as each of you know, when her husband died by suicide. And sometimes when people die who are close to you, you retreat, you feel badly, you wonder if it's your fault. And you don't go out again. And sometimes you open your heart and you ask yourselves, what happened? And you learn that this happens to other people. And you ask yourself, what can I do to make sure it doesn't happen to that many other people? And that's what Nancy did. She learned about suicide. She learned that it could be prevented. And she started an organization that has grown and grown and grown and made an enormous difference. In fact, she was awarded the Jaclyn Kennedy Onassis Award at the Jefferson Awards dinner just a couple of years ago. And my aunt, Jackie, helped to start that award many years ago with a friend of mine, Sam Beard, and I served on that board And it's an incredible group. They get people from all over the country being nominated, and only the best actually win against enormous numbers of other people who've done terrific things. And Nancy won because of all that she accomplished and what she has done to help people learn about suicide and also learn about mental illness. When Nancy and I were young, which was a while ago, people didn't talk about mental illness. It was hidden. It was secret. It was something to be embarrassed about. It was whispered, if even that. And Nancy, and I have to acknowledge my cousin Patrick and others, have opened the windows, have brought it into the public and said, don't be afraid. We can talk about mental illness. And when we do, we can help people who suffer from it. 1 in 5. 1 in 5 children are depressed or schizophrenic or have panic attacks, have all sorts of problems. And because we hadn't talked about it for so long, we didn't recognize it. And Nancy has helped us recognize it and say, what can we do? I have to tell you, when I was lieutenant governor, I wanted to deal with the problem of family violence. And I had 16 hearings all around the state of Maryland to learn about family violence. And I remember a couple of things that were said during that time. One, I heard a 6th grade teacher talk about how she had a 12-year-old come into her classroom and she was beaten. And the teacher just assumed that probably the father or the mother's boyfriend had beaten her up, which was not uncommon. So she talked to the girl and said, what happened? And the child said, oh, my boyfriend beat me up. And the teacher said, well, get rid of your boyfriend. And the girl said, I'd rather have a boyfriend who beats me up than no boyfriend at all. Clearly, that's not a healthy child. And then another teacher said, a kindergarten teacher said, you know, we can tell in kindergarten who the bullies will be and who will be beaten up. Those kind of mental health issues are so identifiable at a young age. And in the state of Maryland, at least, we had mental health for high school students, but no one really had ever advocated for mental health for elementary schools. And under our administration, we changed that. But let me tell you a story about that too. It was thought that we should get the parents' permission to get the mental health treatment. And in one school, the parents didn't give permission, or the children were too embarrassed or didn't want to ask the parents for some reason. And a principal found a very suspicious permission slip. It didn't look like a parent's signature. And it turned out that a 1st grader had bribed 2 3rd graders to sign the parent's permission slip. The 1st grader understood he needed help, but they didn't want to go to the parents. And so he got the 2 3rd graders to ask for mental health treatment. That's how desperate children themselves are to get the help they need. And that's what Nancy understood in Cincinnati, because she's spread it around. You know, in anticipation for this speech, or for this talk, or whatever you want to call it, this conversation is really what I wish it were. I wish we were in person and we could talk about what could be done. A few weeks ago, or a few nights ago, I looked up suicide prevention, and I looked at a number of sites. And the best site I found on this subject was the CDC. And then I thought I should go on Nancy's site and see what she's produced. And I have to tell you, she had the best site of anybody's. It talked about, it had people's own stories. It had the stories of people who had somebody in their family commit suicide. It talked about what people needed to do to prevent suicide, having a conversation, having friends, good nutrition, good exercise. And it gave you indications about why somebody might want to have might have a mental health problem, which could lead to suicide. They retreated. They didn't talk to you. They said they were lonely or bored. They were drinking too much. So that we as a society or friends or family could identify what's going on. And I have to tell you, that could have helped me when I was younger, because in college, a good friend of mine committed suicide. He was such a good friend. I have to tell you, at one point when I was in college, I was going down to my mother's house in Hyannisport, which she used as a summer house, but there was a chimney there. So I knew that there could be a fireplace, but it had been holed up. And so I thought, well, we should make a fireplace out of it. So in December, I kicked in a hole in the wall because I figured if I kicked it in, I'd have to actually follow through. And this friend of mine, who is very smart, spent 2 months with me going to the library, figuring out how you build a fireplace, how long it should be, the depth and the width, what kind of bricks you should use, how you would mix the cement. And we did it. We found the cement. I mixed the bricks. He laid the brick. I mixed the cement. He laid the bricks, and we built a fireplace. He was a really good pal. We used to talk long times into the night. And then he decided to become a forest ranger, which was strange because he was such a wonderfully interesting person. And I could have thought, why did he go so far away? Why did he want to be so alone? What drew him out into the woods to be by himself? And I think it was depression. And there he took a gun and shot himself. If I had read all that Nancy had put out, I might have thought, why was he doing this? I think now, just so you know, for years and years and years, I wrote his mother. And then probably 10 years after his death, we lost contact. But I still think about him and what a wonderful person he was and how sad it was that his talents, his brightness, his ability to take on something like building a fireplace is lost to the world. And now with COVID and with the new technologies like iPhones, the problems of mental health have gotten worse. It's interesting how much loneliness has grown over the last 20 years. And loneliness has particularly hurt young people. Why is that? Because the tech companies have made it their mission to get people addicted to their iPhones. And so young people spend their time talking on their iPhones and not talking to other human beings. There have been studies that show that they feel more comfortable on their iPhones rather than talking to a friend, talking to another human being, and reading about what's going on Instagram, where everybody's having a great time. Now, that's not true. I look at my daughter's Facebook page. All the kids, I have 3 grandchildren with 1 daughter. Her kids look beautiful. They're happy. They're having a great time. But every time I talk to her, I can hardly get through. The kids are crying. And she said, oh, Mom, Facebook, Instagram, they're all fake because they just take the pictures at a good time. when in fact life is such more difficult. But we live a double life. And people are thinking life is perfect when we know it isn't. And so it aggravates and exacerbates people's feeling of loneliness and being left out and not being as good as the others that we see in social media. And obviously, COVID has even made it more difficult because we're really not talking to others and we're isolated. So I hope that through what Nancy's doing and others in Cincinnati and across this country are doing, we'll open our hearts to the challenges of mental health, to the difficulties of suicide, the heartbreak, and teach us not just to look on social media, but to pick up the phone, maybe to take a walk 3 feet away or 6 feet away, to wear a mask as long as we need to, and just say, we need that human connection. We need to be with one another. And if we see a friend who's drinking too much or is retreating from society or retreating from their friends, who says they're lonely, tells us they're bored, we reach out. We say it's our responsibility. We retreat from this idea that each person leads their own lives as an individual. In America, we are an individual, of course, but we're also part of a city on a hill. And a city means we're a community. That's what Cincinnati is. It's a community. And it's made a better community because of 1 in 5 and because of Nancy. Have a good time at this wonderful celebration and fundraiser because it will help so many people to live a better life, a healthy life, and a life that is worth living. Good luck, and God bless you.
Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, thank you so much for those words. I think words that we can all apply to different aspects of our lives each and every day. And thanks for sharing your experience, your strength, your hope. We really, really do appreciate it. And we do need that human interaction. In fact, listening to her right now, I'm going to post a picture of my child throwing his stuffed animals and screaming at me sometimes because, you know, things that you see online are not, it's fantasy land sometimes, in fact, more than others. For almost a year now, most of our children, they've been navigating this new, difficult, normal. I saw it firsthand with our kids, you know, trying to, the Zoom's not working, the anxiety, you know, just wanting to be in the classroom, social isolation, deeply distressed parents, right? The effects of financial uncertainty, school from home. Is the Wi-Fi working? You have an appointment you have to get to, but you gotta, you know, be there with the kids to get them logged in for art class. The bottom line is, while COVID-19 has had less impact on children's physical health, it's taking a toll big time on their mental health, which has an association with increase in suicide-related behaviors. And we need to be on this. Don't brush things aside that your kids may say or may not say. This is why 1 in 5 is so important. 1 in 5 school partnerships are intended to normalize mental health and break down the barriers preventing our youth from seeking help, because every school is unique. So 1 in 5 works with the administrators, the counselors, the teachers on needs assessments and climate survey to better understand the school environment, allowing 1 in 5 to create customized long-term strategic plans that include prevention, intervention, and programs to ensure proper mental health professional supports are in place for each individual school. This isn't a packet that somebody updates once a year and goes, here you go. Okay, this is tailored for each school. Think about it as you're going into a men's store for a suit. You're not just grabbing something off the rack. They're customizing it for you, and that's what 1 in 5 does for each school. It's not too late to make a donation to support 1 in 5's education programs in local schools. So here's what you do right now, and I'm going to give you a pretty big number here in a second, but text S4L2021 to 44321 or go to 1in5.org. Just because we reach a goal doesn't mean we turn off the lights, because there is more that needs to be done. We have reached our goal. Our goal was $150,000 to raise in here this evening. I'm right here. Look at that. $152,000 we have raised so far, and I'll be honest with you, they wrote that number on the board about 6 minutes ago. So I bet we're even higher right now. Okay, and that means $5,000 of that goes to sponsor 1 year of programming in a school. $2,500, the partial programming sponsored for one school. And again, this is customized, tailored to that school, to that city, to that demographic. Supports a community event for storytelling, that's $1,000. $500 covers QPR, gatekeeper training for an entire school, and $250 funds an intern for 24 hours. $50 supports education materials for one school, and right now, maybe even already donated, let's just have a little bit more fun, okay? You get the card is saved in the phone already. You just go right in there, boom. $25 just makes you feel good, okay? Before we start to wrap things up, though, and announce the Bourbon Raffle winners, I've got them right here. There you go. I'm going to turn that over so you don't see them yet. We are going to hear directly from local school administrators on how 1 in 5 supports their school.
Well, good day. My name is Principal Michael D. Owens, and I am the enthusiastic leader at the School for Creative and Performing Arts. And I must say that we've been working with 1 in 5 now for several years, really addressing the social emotional wellness of both our students and our staff. And it has truly been a remarkable partnership. And so I would love to thank Nancy for all of the collaboration and support given to myself and my staff. And I wish for continued success with 1 in 5 as you expand your territory, but as you continue to have SCPA as one of your most important partners. Thank you very much.
This year, we were presented with greater challenges than we had ever before in starting a school year. 1 in 5 was instrumental in helping us bring teacher training at the beginning of the school year, not only to help our teachers reconnect with their school families that they had so abruptly said goodbye to in March, but also to prepare for what to expect with students coming back. Our journey continued this year with prioritizing teacher self-care and culminated in our most recent activity, which is a teacher wellness challenge that 1 in 5 helped us not only organize, but also incentivize to get our teachers to prioritize self-care. We are grateful for all that you do, and our community is a better place because of 1 in 5.
And we want to thank, of course, our friends there at Sycamore Community Schools and the School for Creative and Performing Arts for sharing with us their stories here this evening. Okay, what do you say? Let's open up some bourbon. No, we won't open it up. That's for you. But we are going to announce our Bourbon Raffle winners right now. So here they are. Right there. Check them out in all their beautiful glory. The bourbon, of course, our Pappy Van Winkle. That's a 12-year. Of course, Elijah Craig, single barrel, 18-year. E.H. Taylor, that's a small batch right there. Booker's, you've got Stag, Weller, Special Reserve, and, of course, Blanton. So, are you ready? The names I'm going to announce in order right now. And let me stress again, when I read your name, if you're the first name, you get your first pick. If you're the second name, you get the second pick of what's left, third pick of what's left, so on and so forth. Okay, and our bourbon winners are, here we go, and I do apologize here if I mispronounce your last name, but we'll get it, you still get the bourbon, so that's good. Matthew Langendorfer. Number 1, Matthew, congratulations. Samantha Stryker. Samantha, congratulations to you. Sean Crowley, Jenna DeBoard, Paul Dugan, Elizabeth Lemon, and Marianne Iman. So again, Matthew Langendorf, Samantha Stryker, Sean Crawley, Jenna Debord, Paul Dugan, Elizabeth Lemon, and Marianne Iman. Congratulations. You're going to enjoy this. And, of course, the proceeds, you're helping us reach our goals here and blowing them out of the water this evening. And we really appreciate it. So what's going to happen, staff member will be reaching out to each winner starting tomorrow. So please keep an eye on for that phone call. It's not going to be spam. We want to thank everyone who made this, of course, possible, because what a great thing. And, of course, we want to thank you for making this evening possible. And all of our sponsors, as we mentioned earlier, they're all right there on the site. Thank you to the speakers for sharing their moving and inspirational stories. Kathleen Townsend, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, thank you. The planning committee and hosts and hostesses for making this event possible. And to the generous sponsors from local companies, thank you for helping us stop the stigma. Stop the stigma and start that conversation. Have a conversation, right? Thank you to each and every one of you who attended this evening and made a donation. This is usually when I say drive safe. I don't have to say that because you're home. We raised, are you ready? Here's what we raised. In the time we've been on here, $166,500. How about the four of us? There we go. There you go. Very good. And everybody at home. And the folks in the back, too. More than four. They're behind the curtain. Remember, tonight's not only the only night you can make a donation. The site is still there, as we mentioned. You can always log on to 1in5.org to make donations through the year. Just a reminder, while we've raised $166,000 just this evening, there's more to be raised, and there's more to go to that total, because the silent auction, that will continue until 9 o'clock tomorrow. So bid high and bid often. Also, you do not have to attend this evening's event to bid on the silent auction. So if you see something that someone may like, make sure to encourage them to go online. Just share it on your social media. That's where social media is a positive, to get the word out. I wanted to take a moment, too, to thank Nancy and all of you for allowing me to be here this evening, and hopefully to see you here and work with 1 in 5 in the future as well. So it's my honor, and a few closing comments. Let's bring Nancy back up to the stage. Nancy?
Thank you. My sheet there.
Oh. Hope I didn't mess you up there.
Okay.
There you go. It went so smoothly up until right now.
I don't know.
There you go.
Anyway.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. I want to it's been an amazing night. I can't believe the money is pouring in. We're at $166,000. That's amazing. And I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone that made this night possible, as Frank said, our committee, all of our volunteers, our staff of 1 in 5, all of our speakers, and of course the sponsors, and of course all of you. Again, I want you to, you found it for me. We can't do this work without you. It takes an army of people out there doing that work. And I just want to thank all of the mental health warriors that are working with us to make this possible. Keep up the good work. We're changing the conversation. I feel it every day. Again, I want to thank you, and I want you to have a great evening.